Really delighted to welcome Morgan Aspinall from HaloPSA. Morgan, do you want to just briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Morgan. Some of you may have spoken with me before, some may not. I'm part of the onboarding team here at HaloPSA. So I work with clients migrating from other PSA platforms and help them build out HaloPSA to suit their business needs.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
So I think first thing, I'm sure most of the people here understand what a PSA is, know the background. We're just going to run through a little bit of an overview for perhaps those that aren't so familiar. We're both from the Zomentum side and the Halo side really excited about this integration. I think we've been working on it together for probably a year now, so it's great to see it in fruition, out in production. We've seen a lot of people connecting Zomentum and Halo already, which is really good. So we've had some great early feedback and working hard on the next iteration of the integration. Morgan, do you want to give us a bit of a background? Well, away, you haven't actually seen these slides. I probably should have shared them with you earlier, but hopefully hopefully what you're seeing here kind of aligns with your understanding.
Yeah, this is all news to me. Yeah.
No, do you know what? I think your marketing team put this together with our marketing team. So the content probably does come from your team.
Yes.
We just need you to blindly pretend you know what it's all about and give us some kind of explanation.
Yeah, I've seen some similar iteration of this in the past. Yeah, so I mean, the purpose of a PSA is really a means of centralizing a lot of those otherwise distinct aspects of your business. So, everything from servicing and supporting your customers through to invoicing for those associated agreements, obviously tracking your sales, sending out your proposals. And it's really just a place that's going to allow you to better organize your business and hopefully automate some of those otherwise manual processes. Part of that, of course, is the fact that as powerful as any PSA is going to be, some integrations with other platforms are going to be required. So integrations are an important part of having an effective stack, and that's why we're here today.
Should we find out what's on the next slide?
Oh, go on.
This is lucky dip for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to say about this one?
So I mean, why should service providers use HaloPSA? I mean, reporting is a massive part of the system in my mind, and conversations that I have with clients during onboardings, quite often revolve around the reporting capabilities. They might have an RMM and a separate ticketing system, but will struggle to be able to find volumes of tickets, for incidents or for certain sites. And HaloPSA is a pretty intuitive, very intuitive platform, which is going to allow you to sort of build those automations out on the one side and then report on them on the other. And that phrase "single pane of glass" comes to mind.
Cool. So I guess it's my turn. I think so. I'm a former MSP myself. I was running an MSP. I was actually using Autotask as my PSA, and I had QuoteWorks as my quoting tool. And I was running that business for about the last 12, 15 years. I sold and exited that about 18 months ago and joined Zomentum's team to bring with me the long-lived pain of trying to sell IT services to small businesses and bring that to the Zomentum roadmap. The thing that I think was most exciting about all of this is, most of the PSAs have some kind of really basic quoting on opportunity management capabilities built in, but they're universally pretty terrible. Sorry, Morgan, but Halo is not the place to be putting together fabulous proposals. And so Zomentum and perhaps other sales tools are ideal to bolt on to the beginning of PSA to help you manage those opportunities and put together really great quotes and proposals. Zomentum has been around for about 4 years. What was the core Zomentum product is now Zomentum Grow. It's had to take on a name of its own because we've been building out additional products, and we've also acquired a couple of cool products, including Zomentum Connect, which was formerly Goulash. Now, Zomentum Grow, it's very different to your traditional quoting tools because it has a full-blown sales CRM under the hood. So it helps to manage the overall sales process, including the customer pipeline. It does a great deal to encourage best practice around sales management, helps you close more deals with a much bigger value and much faster. It integrates with all of your distributors, people like Tech Data, Ingram Micro, D&H, Synex. If you're in the UK, West Coast, over in Australia, Dicker Data, and we're always adding to that list. And that's really useful to be able to find elusive hardware stock and real-time pricing, especially in the current market. As I mentioned, we 100% recognize that the PSA is the center of the universe for most MSPs. And so the most important part of, in terms of integrations from Zomentum is the integrations with the PSAs, so that you can build your proposals in Zomentum and seamlessly sync them across to PSA for all of those onward processes. You need to be able to do the billing, the ticketing, the project management, everything else that comes after closing the deal. And you're going to do all of those things in PSA, in this case, HaloPSA. So I've kind of already answered this. Why use a separate sales platform if PSA can create quotes? It's because the PSAs all have really terrible quoting capabilities. It's not their primary focus. It's as simple as that. The Halo team have been building a phenomenal PSA, which is all about managing the client really after you've closed the deal, and all the way from onboarding through to the billing, the project management, the ticketing, the reporting, all of that. It's not really their primary focus to be working on that sales bit at the beginning. So how does Zomentum and HaloPSA fit together? Zomentum complements HaloPSA by providing an advanced quoting and proposal solution that seamlessly integrates with HaloPSA in real time. It's a two-way sync, so you can create your company's contacts, products, opportunities, etc. on the Halo side, or you can create them on the Zomentum side, and it's going to sync back and forth. Quotes and proposals are synced at a line item level, so everything, and you'll see this in a minute, everything you put on the quote in Zomentum is going to get pushed through exactly as you need it to be in Halo to pick up and do those onward processes that we were talking about a minute ago. One of the other really cool features with Zomentum is that you can upsell to your existing customers. You get a lot of visibility into the overall customer life cycle. And so it makes it really easy to quote that additional hardware or new products, again, leveraging the distributor integrations for stock and pricing. So there we go, end of the presentation. This is the bit hopefully everyone was waiting for. While we were rattling through that, we've had about another 10 people join, which is I think this is the busiest webinar I've done. I love it. Nice. So the title for the webinar was Prospect to Project, because really the workflow we wanted to take you through was from having that prospect created in Zomentum, putting together a very quick quote or proposal, pushing it across to Halo, and then in Halo being able to convert it into the project or the tickets, convert the product into a billing item, and also set up a recurring service billing arrangement in Halo as well. So without further ado, let's swap what we're sharing, if I can work out how to use Zoom, and we'll go over to a live demo environment. We'll get there eventually. Right. Can you see my screen all right, Morgan? Have I shared the right one?
Yeah.
Good. So first thing the first thing when you log into Zomentum is you're going to see this Kanban view of all of your opportunities. You can break things out into multiple pipelines. Here I've got this specific sales pipeline that we're going to use for the demo with Halo. But Tim asked about VCIO QBR capabilities, so I've got a pipeline for QBRs as well, and we'll touch back on that towards the end. So typically your workflow is going to look something like this. You know, you'll have done all of your marketing and you've got to the point with a prospect where they've kind of put their hand in the air and said, I'm ready to talk about your service. And that's the point at which Zomentum really picks up. You know, it's not about doing the email campaigns and that top of funnel marketing. It's to help you really at the bottom of the funnel to actually close the deals that are at that stage. So the stages you see here are about taking them from prospect, getting, understanding what that opportunity actually looks like. What is it that we want to put on the proposal? That's the assessment phase. Getting the proposal ready, so preparing the proposal, then the proposal's been sent. Maybe you go through some negotiation. If you're unlucky, the customer puts you on hold. Or if if you're lucky, you win the deal, or unlucky, you'd lose the deal. So I want to keep it really brief, ideally. First thing we're going to do is just create an opportunity. So the opportunity here, what did we agree we were going to sell, Morgan? It was a new laptop and support
Yep.
for a client.
Yep.
So I've got this Ben's test company that we've got synced with Halo. It's in the prepare proposal stage for now, because I'm going to start putting together that quote. I think that's all we need to fill in for now. 20% probability is probably a little bit negative. I'm going to be a little more optimistic with 80. And perhaps it's got an estimated value of £5,000. Obviously, my Zomentum instance is in the UK, where we use proper money. So then we've created an opportunity that sits on this Ben's test company and Ben's test contact. Next thing I need to do is create a document. Here I could either create a quote or a proposal. Quotes are going to be for your shorter form, quick things. If the client specifically asks for maybe a new laptop or new monitor, something like that, you'd probably use a quote template. If it's a completely new opportunity, maybe you'd use a much longer form of proposal, which starts off with all that "we're fabulous, why work with us" content, goes on to the pricing, terms, and stuff. But let's start with a quick quote here. So select a template. On the Zomentum platform, we pre-provide a whole load of global templates throughout the platform in different categories. So under the quotes here, we've got a handful. I'm just going to grab one of my existing quote templates. I think it's not too ugly. That'll do. IT network management quote, and create a document from that. We've got a comment from Stephen Buys. Hello, Stephen. Good to see you. Can you move the create opportunity fields around so most used required are at the top and the least used are hidden or at the bottom? No, I don't think so. Let me come back to that one, because I think that's quite a good question, reordering fields. Probably not the topic for today's webinar, but I'll catch up with you afterwards if that's okay. So getting back to the flow here, we're starting to put together this proposal. I'm going to add some products to it. I think the first thing you'll notice, I've got a whole load of really ugly demo data. As you can see, a lot of people probably use my sandbox. We were going to put on a support package. So we had this monthly silver support package, which is actually a product that's been synced in from Halo. We were also going to sell them a new laptop. And for this, I think it would be quite nice to demonstrate the utilize capabilities, which is that kind of product real-time stock pricing capability. So if I look for an HP ProBook, for example, fairly certain we're not going to find anything useful, but this is going to search across all of my distributors at the same time. So in the UK, I've got Ingram Micro, Tech Data, and West Coast all integrated, and it will show me available stock and pricing from those distributors. Really neat. I can choose to exclude out of stock. This is probably going to take a little bit longer while it tries to find a real laptop in stock in the UK. Here we go. Seems like Ingram have one ProBook 450 on their shelf. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that to the quote as well. It obviously pulls in product images and the full product description as provided by the manufacturer. And then because we've got a laptop on there, I also want to charge the customer a setup fee for that. The laptop installation, we call it, Morgan.
Let's have a look. It might.
Oh, I'm searching utilize, wrong place. Laptop installation. That was it, 200 quid.
Lovely stuff.
So again, that's been pulled in from Halo there. So we've got a monthly recurring service, we've got a one-time product, and we've got a piece of labor on here. And so be really carefully choosing those three products because we wanted to show you, put together something that gave us the meat to be able to show all of the onward processes in Halo. So from that silver support package, we're going to be able to create the recurring invoice in Halo. From that laptop, we're going to be able to go ahead and create a PO, kind of look at that procurement process and put it on an invoice. And then for the laptop installation, because that's a piece of labor, we're going to be able to spin that off into a project. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of that, Morgan.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. Those product lookups that you have there are really neat. I think I didn't realize that it had the option to filter out of stock as well. That's quite cool. But yeah, I think that's a really good example of the different sort of channels which you will follow once this proposal comes into Halo. So yeah.
A really good question from Tim. Can you, Tim Walker, can you overwrite the cost prices of products pulled in from distributors, e.g. if we have special pricing in place? So yes, once we've added this to the quote, if we go to edit the product, we can then mess about with the images. For example, I don't particularly want to put the HP logo on the quote, doesn't really add any value. But I can also then choose between different distributors even at this later point, or I can use completely custom pricing here, put in £500 as my cost point, for example. I'll just toggle that back to Ingram. Where are we? Margin, put a 25% margin on that, gives us a sell price. Additionally, this slightly bespoke for Halo depends on, from PSA to PSA, whether there are any additional fields that you can optionally map. Here, Halo has item asset types. Perhaps Morgan can explain what the asset types are and why you may or may not want to choose one while creating a product.
Yeah, so in Halo, we have the option to manage stock, and that can include sort of non-serialized stock, obviously like a cable or something, or if you do track serialized stock, then stock additions of this product can create assets. Those assets can then be sort of tracked moving forward and added to tickets and so on. That field there, I believe, is specifying the asset type to create upon receiving stock for this product.
I'm glad you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, at least I sound like I do, eh?
Another question here from Josh Essner. If you add an item from a supplier, will that create an item in Halo if not already set up? So yes, when you add a product from one of your vendors in Zomentum, it's going to add it to Zomentum's product catalog. That product catalog is then synced in real time with Halo's product catalog. Cool. Oh, another question. Rob, probably skipping ahead. It doesn't surprise me at all that you're skipping ahead, Rob. Probably skipping ahead slightly, sorry. But if I create a bundle of products in Zomentum, what entity does that bundle sync into Halo as? Gosh, that's a good question. Does Halo support product bundles?
We support something akin to it. So we have the option to relate products to another product, and that via our reporting capabilities will allow us to provide profitability reports based on those related products. So you would have a managed services fee that would be its own product in Halo, and then they would have related products in there of possibly an installation product that would have a certain cost attributed to it, hardware costs, and a recurring cost similar to what we have set up here. And we would relate those products to the bundle, and then we would include the bundle on any orders or invoices. But behind the scenes, we could, of course, report on the cost and price of the related products. So, yeah.
I don't think that answers the question, because I know from the Zomentum side, we definitely don't have that sort of level of implementation yet with Halo.
Sure.
So there's two possibilities here. Either, I think, assuming the bundle logic is the same as it is with the other PSAs, typically within Zomentum, perhaps we might as well just demonstrate this, I guess. If we go ahead and add a product, we see if, actually, let's create a bundle instead. That might be easier. Let's just call this demo bundle for Rob. And that's going to be a bundle. So I'll be kind of interested to see how this gets pushed through to Halo as well, actually.
Yeah.
So into this, if we put two products, the question really is, I think, whether we push a single product called test Rob Ellis bundle, or whether actually we're going to push the child items. I would expect that if you choose to show the pricing of the child items in Zomentum, we'll push the child items. If you choose not to show the child pricing, then we'd push a single product, because otherwise the customer would later get that child pricing.
Yeah.
So if we just let's add a couple of things into this bundle. Absolutely classic. Jonathan suggested a laptop, computer, a warranty, and a monitor. That's probably the example I would use as well. That pro book again. Just make sure it's a different one. Here we go. Next. Save. So we've put a laptop in there, and if we go ahead and just pop a warranty in there as well, if I could spell warranty correctly. Warranty extension 1 year. Let's try that. A one-time product. Yes, it is. Okay, so now we've created a bundle, demo bundle for Rob that contains two products. It contains this laptop, this HP ProBook laptop, and this warranty extension. If we just put a price on that as well. I love being caught out on the fly trying to do these things. I wish it was slightly more predictable.
Yeah.
So, okay. So then when I was talking about showing and hiding pricing, if I just save that bundle and add that to the quote.
I think it'll probably go through as one product. That's what I would guess, but we'll find out. Yeah,
so we've got a few options around bundles. First of all, you can hide all of the products within the bundle, in which case on Zomentum, it's just going to show you quite literally just demo bundle for Rob. I'm just going to take that separately off. You can also, if we're showing all the products, then we have options to either show the individual product pricing or not show the individual product pricing. I choose to show the pricing. So even though everything's bundled, it puts it in this gray box to show that it all kind of comes together, but it still shows us the individual itemized breakdown within that bundle. So my expectation is if you're showing the pricing like this, really the bundle is just being used for visual presentation more than anything. In this case, I would expect them to be pushed through as individual products. But if we set this back to not showing the individual pricing, therefore we can set a price on the bundle itself, then I would expect this to get pushed through as a single product. But let's find out. I mean, Rob, if you've got a particular way you want to see this happen, let us know. We'll try to accommodate that. I'm going to guess at the next name. I'm really sorry if I don't pronounce this correctly, but Wojciech is asking, what about distributors integration in different countries? Is it possible to have custom integration? So we actually have quite a lot of the integrations available in a lot of regions. Isn't it great when you have to Google your own website to find the page you're looking for? If you go to zomentum.com/integrations, you can see exactly which regions the various integrations are supported in. So for Ingram Micro, for example, because their APIs are really consistent and really thorough, we've got that available in a lot of different geographies, and the same for some of the other integrations. Really good question about, is it possible to have custom integration? Hopefully by the end of Q3 this year, we'll have custom distributor feeds available as a feature. A lot of the distributors are really old school. They provide their feeds as quite literally as a file-based feed that they deliver to an FTP server. So we'll be able to either spin up an FTP server that they can push to that's part of your Zomentum account, or we'll be able to pull from their FTP server to bring your feeds in. And you'll then be able to map the various columns within that data file to the fields in Zomentum. So short answer is not today, but give us 3 to 6 months, and those custom distributed feeds should be available. Another one for Rob. It's around good, better, best, e.g. customer sees one line item, one price for good bundle, which contains RMM EDR backup. Okay, that makes sense. So Rob, in the short answer is the question's a lot more complicated because you've got different types of bundles. You can have bundles of services, you can have bundles of products, and the behaviors around those are going to be very different. I'd suggest it might make more sense to catch up separately to go through your exact requirements on a private demo. Otherwise, we'll easily spend another hour messing about with bundles. So shall we now? Yeah, thanks for understanding, Rob. So in terms of, we've built the quote proposal here. We might say to the customer that they can make choices of their own, in which case they'll see checkboxes. We can also allow the customer to edit their own quantities for each of these products. When you send the quote to the customer, they'll get a preview, a link to view it on the web, which will look something like this. So they can then see the pricing, they can make their own choices, select and deselect items. If you'd allowed them to edit the quantities, they could also edit the quantities. Once they're done, because I'm in preview mode, I can't see the signature button down at the bottom, but the customer would then have an option to sign off and approve the quote. So let's imagine they've gone through that process, they've signed the quote. And sorry, we're sort of skipping over a little bit of that workflow just in the interest of time. So if I go back to the opportunity in Zomentum, oops. Where are we? I knew I'd get lost there. Which one was it? It was new laptop and support for client, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so we're back at the opportunity view. This is the quote we've just been putting together. So the next step would be, the customer signed off the quote. So we're going to move the opportunity to 1. If we'd provided multiple quotes along the road, like different variations of the quote, you'd be able to choose which of the quotes was the one that the customer had actually approved. And then I'm just going to hit update. A lot of that happens automatically. If you'd sent the document to the customer signed it off, then we can automate a whole load of the little steps I just showed you. But for purposes of this demo, I don't want to wait for emails to fly around. So at this point, hopefully that's been pushed through to Halo. Do you want to just have a look, Morgan, and see if you've got what we're expecting over there?
Yeah,
this is where we discover that I've put it in like the wrong pipeline or something stupid.
Prospect. New laptop and support for client, right?
Yes. And has it got a quote?
It's not in here at the minute.
Ooh.
tested that just before we went live, didn't we? And
do you want to swap over, share your screen now?
yeah, happily. Let's see. There we are.
And then if needed, what you could do is pick up the one we did half an hour ago instead.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Cool. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. Ben, you can see my screen, see the right screen as well.
Can we just pause for a minute?
Absolutely.
Despite promising to look at the Q&A, I realized I was only actually watching the chat, and we've got a few questions.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So from Kim Saunders, if a quote or proposal is for a new client, which you add in Zomentum, will the client be synced and created in Halo? Yes, it will. And then an anonymous question, we sometimes sell a service at different prices. If we change the price in Zomentum, will Halo see it as the same service at a different price, or create it as a new service or product because of the price difference? No. So it will use the same underlying product or service. We'll just send the specific price to it, because you know, within Halo, when you're putting something on a quote, you can override the standard catalog pricing. Sorry, one more question, this time from the chat. Does the quote from Zomentum only get sent to Halo once won? Yes, I believe so. And from Arthur, this is the part we've been waiting to see work, as support told us that items can't push to Halo as quotes or invoices currently. They 100% can. If you're having any issues with that, let Morgan or I know, and we can definitely get that solved.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be completely useless if if the quote wasn't pushed through with all the line items. Agreed. Yes, 100%. So yeah, Morgan, do you want to pick up one of those quotes that we pushed over in Halo and show us the magic?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you can see the home screen, right? Yeah. So I mean, as Ben mentioned, the sort of syncing of data between Zomentum and Halo is all event based. So as soon as those opportunities has come through as one, they'll fall into the CRM area within Halo. What we're having a look at here is just a list of our open opportunities. On the left-hand side, we have sort of different filter profiles that we can apply, sort of different custom lists based on whatever criteria comes through onto that opportunity. So that could be based on, you know, the current status of the opportunity, who it's assigned to, and so on. Within our opportunities, once that information has come through, it'll come through with sort of a status that's been pushed over from Zomentum. And what we have on here is just sort of our core opportunity metrics, our sort of contact details as well, as Ben mentioned, will be pushed through and created to the client in Halo from Zomentum. And we also have our sort of our workflow progress bar along the top, so we can see where, once the opportunity lands in Halo, where we're at in terms of the op there. Now, from our opportunities, yeah, once that proposal's come through and the op's been marked as one in Zomentum, the quote will be pushed over to Halo. Now, what we're having a look at here is just the quotation screen. The creation of sort of our sales and purchase orders from the quote is a simple click of a button. So from the quote, we'll want to create our sales order, and it's from there that all of our different sort of actions and items of functionality come into play. So from this quote, I'll create my sales order. Bang, it's going to give me a link on the right hand side to the order. Now, based on some of the configuration options we have behind our products, we have some distinct actions that can be performed on them. So if we have a product in Halo that's associated to a project template, then we're going to have the option to create our project directly from the order. So if I do that, that's going to create our project and give us a link to the project. Now, if I just jump back over here and I go to the projects area, you see again, we have a series of different ways that we can view our projects in the system. I've sort of built a couple of lists out, just returning a Kanban view, or we can have a Gantt view of our project so we can sort of see where we're at over some given period of time. So let's just close this. Let's go in here and let's click the link over to this project from the sales order. Now, again, based on sort of our templated configuration, we can have certain projects which are associated to certain products, have our own set of to-do lists created, and our own sort of subtasks to complete some individual pieces of work that are required to fulfill the project. So we can see here we have our sort of our progress, and this has automatically been pushed over from Zomentum, so we'll be able to get a link back to the quote in Zomentum from the project in Halo. So there's a sort of a seamless transition there, and information doesn't get lost along the way. Those projects can also have budgets associated to them, so you can track sort of expected time and effort as you're completing these individual tasks that need to be fulfilled to complete the project. And these are all, again, just their own tickets with their own set of to-do items on them that can have their own time tracked against them, and so on. So you go ahead, creating a project from your quote is as simple as clicking that create project button. Let's close these. Let's go back to our sales order. So I'm just going to go into the quotes and orders section here, where I can actually see a full list of all of the quotes that have come into Halo. And I can also filter by those open and closed quotes. It's just based on the status of our quotation. So let's take a look at that sales order that we were just working on. So that's for those products in Halo that have a project template sort of sitting behind them. Once you have a project created from an order, you can then add other products to that project. So if you have a laptop installation project, and that's for a specific laptop that is added onto the order, we can then actually add that onto our project. Again, just sort of allowing us to keep everything neat and tidy and all tracked in one place. So now, again, our laptop is included as one of our products on our project. And we can see that just from the products tab that's now been automatically added here for us.
Yeah, and Morgan, just before we started this webinar, I was explaining to Morgan how our sandbox integrations are disconnected once a day to prevent infinite loops and stuff when the devs are messing about with things. The reason the opportunity we were just playing with didn't push to Halo is because at precisely 16:30 UK time, my integration got disconnected. I've just been running in the background through reconnecting it. That is profoundly embarrassing.
That is comical. I love that.
you couldn't make the timing up. I have, however, reconnected it. Quite a few people are asking specifically whether a quote which isn't yet one is going to be pushed to Halo. So while you demonstrate this, I'm just going to create a quote on an opportunity that isn't one, and then we'll see if we can pick that up in Halo.
Brilliant. Okay. Let me know as and when you've done that. In the meantime, I'll carry on with just going through the other options that we can perform from our sales order. The next thing that I was going to mention was regarding the Silver support package. So again, our sales order is the sort of central hub for all of our information that in turn has originated from the quote, and that's going to include our agreements, and associated recurring invoices. So I'm going to jump back into that sales order. Again, we'll see here for our Silver Support Package product, we have the option to create our contract directly from the sales order. So Halo allows you to sort of create full managed service agreements that can have their own SLAs associated to them for sort of recurring charges and possibly sort of a level of support. Maybe you provide just break fix on your incidents, but you charge for time on service requests. So we can build that all into our agreement. And you can do that straight from the sales order. So by clicking create contract, we've now got this or new agreement. We've got this new agreement screen where I pick the customer, I set my unique agreement reference, or I let Halo generate one for me. I set my agreement type, where we can basically specify whether or not it's just a fixed number of hours that are provided free of charge, or per month or per quarter, or something a bit more flexible. Maybe you provide 100 hours of support, to the client for, and that's going to expire in sort of a year and a half's time. But until then, that's what they get. So that could be based on a fixed agreement or potentially a prepaid arrangement.
Morgan, I've just created that completely separate quote. There is an opportunity on Ben's test company called opportunity that isn't one.
Oh yeah, there we go. That one's come through. Nice.
Yeah,
Re-enabled the integration.
I've re-enabled the integration. So it does have a product on it. Has that product been pushed through?
No quote has come through. So from our opportunities, you'll be able to see those quotes just above the opportunity information. So hopefully.
No, so it seems that we only push the quotes across when they're actually one.
Which, yeah, I suppose
kind of makes sense. So the problem there is that if you had multiple quotes on an opportunity, Halo only supports one active quote, right? You couldn't have multiple quotes on an opportunity.
You can have multiple quotes on an opportunity, yeah. So we have sort of different. We can have multiple iterations of quotes on an opportunity, yeah.
But you couldn't have multiple completely separate quotes. We're really getting in deep here.
No, you couldn't.
Tim's saying yes, you can.
I mean, you could create a new iteration and completely change it, or have a completely separate quote and link it back to the same ticket, or the same opportunity, should I say.
Yeah, so I think my vote here then is going to be no, the quote is only, so he's saying we can create child tickets for separate quotes.
Yeah.
Gosh,
certainly a possibility, yeah.
I think, Tim, it's probably worth, if you've got specific requirements around that, it's probably worth catching up separately about it. If you email me, ben@zomentum.com, I'll be able to work out a definitive answer for you.
Yeah, I think sort of the bottom line is it's certainly achievable. There might be a different way that we could sort of enhance the integration that would make that a bit more slick, but yeah, it's not like it couldn't be done.
It is perhaps worth pointing out, this is very much V1 of an integration that does the necessary, which is to get quotes across to Halo so that you can do the next steps. Over time, between us, I'm sure we'll be collaborating very closely to drive the integration forwards. There are a couple of other questions. So Jason, sure. Ben, can you show how to create new quoting proposal templates? Is it relatively easy? Yes, we probably don't have time to demonstrate it, but it's the same as creating a document. You can either create a document from an existing template and save that as a new template, or you could start with an existing template and just clone it, or you could go for a completely new template, in which case it would be blank and it would just use the normal document editor. And then, so a couple of questions, Nathan in the Q&A. Can you set up Zomentum for 2 different organizations to then sync it over into the specific organization in Halo? I have 2 companies I run out of Halo. Probably not, but again, I think that's quite a complicated one. So email me separately and we'll work that out. Again, can you set a bucket of money and chip away with 2 different billing rates? This is probably one for you, Morgan. Once we've done this bit of the demo, can you set a bucket of money and chip away with 2 different billing rates, not a bucket of hours?
Yeah, sure. So that kind of touches on what I was just referring to here with our agreement type. Those bucket of hours, if they sort of reset periodically, then you would just want to include those hours in the hours per period for our fixed agreement. If it is something that's more of a prepaid arrangement where it is a set number of hours that's chipped away over time, then we would have our prepay agreement in here, and we'll see what happens shortly when I set that up. You could, with your agreement types as well. I know we're sort of running out of time, so I'll sort of speed up a little bit here. With our agreements, we can set sort of different types in here that can then sort of reflect the level of service that we're providing, and that can also be reflected in the SLA that's applied to tickets that are logged with this agreement applied. Go ahead and save that. Again, that's going to give us a link to that agreement. So if I click over there, based on the fact that I set that agreement up to be of type prepay, I've now got this prepay tab where I can include in here sort of a number of hours that we're providing, 50 hours, let's say, at some given amount that's been agreed. And then as an aside, we would set up sort of billing templates, which would basically say certain time that we spend on tickets will be chipped away against this bucket of time versus some other bucket of time versus being charged at an hourly rate. I'm happy to go through that in a little more detail if you wanted to reach out to me directly, morgan.aspinall@halopsa.com. We can have a quick call and run through the whole process there within Halo.
I kind of knew this was going to happen, that we'd end up almost we'd have the people interested in Zomentum wanting a full Zomentum demo and the people interested in Halo wanting a full Halo demo. But we are sort of trying to focus it specifically on the integration between them.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty more that both platforms can do, and I'm sure you'll be happy to discuss the Zomentum side, and we'd be happy to discuss the Halo side. So yeah.
And Nathan's just asked if we can dump the emails in the chat, which I'm going to do now. Well, yours was morgan.aspinall@imaginehalo.com.
It's the one. Yep. Cool.
I'll type that down.
Nice. Yeah. So once you've created your agreement, you'll then be presented with the option to create your recurring invoice. So in here, you can go ahead, set your schedule for invoice creation. Just make sure that you allocate your agreement to, you allocate your recurring invoice to your agreement, and it's automatically added recurring line onto here. We also have integrations with sort of commonly used accounts packages, Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, and the web-based accounts integrations are all immediate as well. So as soon as you create an invoice or a product in Halo, it can then push that over to the respective accounts package. Finally, from me, it's just once we've created our sales order and we've spawned off those relevant entities, we've created our projects that can have those budgets and timescales tracked against them. We've created our agreement and recurring invoice so we can get paid on a regular basis. The last point I just wanted to mention was from your sales orders, you have the option to create your invoices, at which point you can invoice for everything on the order, if applicable. A percentage of the order, which is quite commonly used. You might want to sort of charge 50% now and 50% upon project completion. So you can charge your invoice. You can invoice for a percent of the order, or you can pick specific lines that you want to invoice. Maybe you just want to get your invoice for the laptop straight away, but you don't want to worry about the contract line or the project line just yet. So we can go ahead and create that. Again, if you're syncing with an accounts package, that will then create the invoice in the respective accounts package. And yeah, that's the process that I wanted to discuss on the Halo side with regards to the Zomentum Halo integration. I'm sure there's plenty of questions that people have, and yeah, shoot me an email if so.
Yeah, I've been desperately trying to keep up with all of the questions without derailing too much. I hope we've managed to answer as many of them as possible. I'm well aware there's quite a few lingering deep technicalities out there. So I put our emails in the chat. Either more, if it's a Halo thing, reach out to Morgan. If it's a Zomentum thing, reach out to me. Between us, we'll be able to get our respective teams in to solve whatever it might be. Yeah, and if anyone's using the integrations or starts using it over the next few weeks, do reach out to us with any feedback. Like I said, it really is the first iteration of this integration. It does everything it needs to do as of now, but I can see it doing so much more. I think there's a lot of opportunities to add some backwards links from Halo into Zomentum, and we can probably do quite a lot more cool stuff around the workflows. Couple of additional comments. Jonathan, great content. Looking forward to the end of our ConnectWise agreement. I'm sure Morgan's happy to hear that.
Yeah. I'm saying nothing. Yeah.
Yes, diplomatically quiet. Albert, is this being recorded? I missed the beginning. Yes, it has been recorded. But to everyone, if you want personalized demos of either of the platforms, just let us know. If you want a joint demo, let us know, and I'm sure Morgan and I are quite happy to jump on calls together. And
For sure.
I think unlike a lot of the other PSA integrations that we've done at Zomentum, good luck getting hold of really helpful resources at some of the big PSA providers who should remain nameless. Whereas at Halo, between Tim, their CEO, Morgan, we've had so much help in terms of getting this up and running. And I think there's a lot we can all do by collaborating moving forwards. Tim, what do you
Brilliant.
mean? ConnectWise are so on the ball. Yes.
Do I hit sarcasm there?
Couldn't possibly comment.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me with this today, Morgan.
No, it was a pleasure. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the integration, and like you say, excited to see sort of how it's going to be utilized moving forward.
I would be a lot more excited about the integration if I hadn't been systematically disconnected.
I think we did pretty
so
good considering.
Managed to save it.
If it was going to happen at in 1 hour of the day, it would be this hour, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Do you know what? The number of times I've asked our engineering team if they can exempt my account from this disconnect. There's some cron job that runs on AWS that just goes cut everyone's integrations once a day on our own instances. It's really frustrating. Vittorio, please continue to innovate. The channel needs it. Thanks for putting this together. It's feedback like yours that keeps us doing this. We need the feedback on what you need the integrations to do. We've got a lot of other integrations that we're excitedly working on. I'm sure the same applies for the team at Halo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you guys that drive the product forward. Without your feedback, we can't build a platform to be as useful and powerful as you guys find it. So yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a really busy webinar. Actually, I'm not at all surprised, but at the same time I'm a little bit surprised. It's just a really pleasant surprise. I think it really validates to me that everything that we are both doing is it's exactly what people are looking for. And so bring those two forces together, and it's a powerful combination.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Right, I guess we'll end it there. I've left the emails in the chat, ben@zomentum.com or
morgan.aspinall@imaginehalo.com.
Yeah, just reach out to us. We're more than happy to help anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining.
Ben, it was a pleasure, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Brill, and hopefully see you all soon.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.